All right, this is very exciting. Today, day 496. Let's focus the camera back into order, into the right place. This is great. Take a look at that. How good that looking. Okay, great. So we're going to review right now the sales documents that we have. A live sales call by Grant Cardone. How many of you people want to be great? This is an affordable measurement way for you to get out of inner blockages. Working, you stopping to run your business. I wouldn't want you to waste time in unhealthy habits. There's no money in there. It's costing you your energy. Exactly. Okay. This is all Grant Cardone stuff. Yeah, that's all good, but we're actually going to use that. Hormozy stuff. All right, here we go. All right, yes-based question. Sounds good. Neutral. If we did this, does that sound like a fair expectation? Does that sound reasonable? Fair enough? Then let's move forward. 3 types of statements in the sales process. Number 1, questions. Leading questions that get them to come to the conclusion to work with me and that I can solve his problems. Number 2, restatement. Understanding, listening. So what I'm hearing is, this is the primary issue that you're trying to solve. This is what you've done so far, and this is why it didn't work. Does that sound about right? Okay. People are not going to execute on teaching until they have their belief broken and believe that they can trust. So I'm saying this. Okay, 3 short stories. Actually, let us also go over the sales document that we got here. All right, so there are 3 objection overcomes, basically. Time in the macro. This is a busy season. I got a lot of stuff going on. Okay, I totally understand. Here's some good news. The busier you are, the better time it is to start, because life is always going to have busy seasons, and if you can't figure out how to do it during busy seasons, this isn't going to last. And you want to do that to last, right? Then what better time to do that? Great, okay. Totally understand. Here's some good news. The busier you are, the better time it is to start, because life is always going to have busy seasons, and if you can't figure out how to do it during busy seasons, then this is not going to last, and you want this to last, right? Then what better time to do it than now? On top of that, if you're busy now, what time to have all of the support, but when you need it most, right? What better time to do it? So if somebody comes to me and says, yeah, okay, but I don't have the time, this is a very busy season, and I'm like, okay. What better way to start than actually in the busy season when you need the support the most? What actually better way to start than in the busy season when you really would need the support the most? Right, here's some good news. The busier you are, the better time it is to start, because life is always going to have busy seasons, and if you can't figure out how to do it during busy seasons, then this is not going to last. Exactly, micro. I used to do the same thing, but my friend, do you think there's something on earth less making it happen? Exactly. So there's always some good timing. I don't have the time right now. Well, I would assume that we would find the time. How much time have you got? Okay. And so you priced your time at $1,100 per hour. Is that correct? Really? Is that really correct? Or would you rather say 110? Okay. So provided that that is the case. Okay. So provided that that is the case, then there are different ways of doing that. Great. And the first thing that any program is going to do, a good program is cut out 90% of the things that they're doing because you feel overwhelmed, which is probably the real reason. Okay, second, value. So we first have the time. It's a busy season or you don't have any time at all. Secondly, it is value. I can't afford it. Why a lot is good, why it's not a lot, what money is good for, and why you don't need money. Okay. Why costing a lot is good? Exactly. That's why you're going to be successful, because when it's a lot, then you are committed. Exactly. Why it's not a lot? Well, compared to college education, it really is not that much, is it? Exactly. Exactly. What money is good for anyway? Well, money, generally speaking, is just a means of exchange, right? It's just a means to get what you want and utilize that, right? Exactly. When he says that is the exact reason why you're going to be successful. Exactly. Why it is not a lot. So if all it did, would it be worth? So if all it did, great. So if all it did, would it be worth it? Okay, I understand. Don't have the time. Exactly. Exactly. We only speak with people who don't have the time currently. Okay, I got it. So when the prospect says yes to it being worth it, then it's not about the price, it is about whether you believe in price anchor. Well, there's no degree in being proficient at living life. That's what the alternative education industry exists, and it's because the formal education has failed most of us in preparing us to live a good life. Do you have the degree? Some of the degrees take 3 to 4 years and are $50,000, $100,000, and it doesn't raise your happiness level. What is money good for anyway? Well, the money is going to get spent either way. 12 months from now, you're going to buy the lessons from this program either way. So you're either going to pay with that with experience, or you're going to pay with it, or you're going to pay for it with the money that you're going to give me now. Or you're going to pay for it with the money that you're going to spend on it. But you're buying these lessons either way. The question is just how do you want to pay and how long do you want it to take? The question is just how do you want to buy it? How do you want to buy that, and how long do you want it to take? So the question is just how do you want to pay for it, and how long do you want it to take? Right? So the question really just is how long do you want that to take? And so the question really just is how long do you want that to take? Right? And so the question really becomes how long do you want it to take? Right? That's the real question. And so the real question is, how long do you actually want this to take? Right? That's the real question. So what's the money good for anyway? So you're going to get the lessons of this program anyways. You can either pay for it in time, or you can pay for it with your own time, or you can pay for it with the money. You're going to get the lessons of that either way. So that's the value. It's not a lot of money, or why a lot of money is good, and then you're going to also get these lessons either way, right? Get these lessons either way. Money is going to get spent either way 12 months from now. You're buying these lessons of this program either way, both case, worst case, okay. So you're going to spend the money anyways over the next 12 months. Not only are you going to spend it, but you're going to buy the program. The question is just, are you going to pay for it in money or whether you pay for it in time? And you can learn every single lesson that is in the program, but you want it to take 12 weeks or 12 years. And the question is that you are going to live are you going to live 1,000 lifetimes because of the 1,000 people that we helped just like you and gathered all those lessons and put them together so you don't have to trial and error for what the entire period of time. So the question is not whether you're going to buy it or not, but how do you want to pay? So you're going to spend the money anyways. The question is whether you spend it on stuff that doesn't get you anywhere, or whether you want to buy something that actually buys the program and gives you what you want, right? And if we're being real, you have probably been paying with time for the last 6 years. Now how has that been working out for you? Do you want to do more of that? Right? Number 4 is resourcefulness, not resources. You know what self-made millionaires and you have in common? Both started from zero. Let me prove that to you, that you have resourcefulness, unexpected bills, life-saving, surgery. You need resourcefulness, not resources. Do you know self-made millionaires that start with nothing? What's the difference between them and you? Okay, and that's the fit. New identity, pain of change, hypothetical. Okay, so what would make it a no? Okay, so you say you actually would want that, and now you got to consider it. What would make it a no? Let's say you go and you really thoroughly consider that. What would make it a no? Got it. And what would make it a yes? Very interesting. Okay. So what would make it a no? And what would make it a yes? Okay, that is very interesting. Okay, so what would make it a no? So if it were a no, what would make it a no? Okay, and what would make it a yes? So like if you could do that, what would make it a yes after all? Okay, interesting. Okay, got it. No, I got it. That makes total sense. No, I got it. That makes total sense. Okay, got it. So have you ever had an unexpected bill come up? Have you found a way to do it? Because if you have the ability to be resourceful, well, that's for somebody else, but not for you. So you can be powerful when somebody else needs it, but you won't be for yourself. Okay, new identity, new priorities. So it's gonna be time. This is a busy season. Busy season means, okay, there's no better place now. What would be a better place than to get actually the support when it is now? Don't have the time, let me prove it to you, right? In the micro, so that's the time. Then we got, there's the time, and then we got value. Money, why a lot of money is good? It's very good that it is a lot because it means you're gonna take it serious. Why it's not a lot of money compared to the education, right? You're gonna pay with that anyway. And you're gonna pay for this either way. And what's money good for anyways, right? It's about resourcefulness, not resources. And it is about resourcefulness, not the resources, all right? That's what all of this is all about. Okay, new change, new priorities, new identity. Vote with our dollars about the things that we care about the most. And if you want to step into this new reality, it requires a different way of thinking. And the best way to do that is to make this very nominal investment, which is not that much, but it's going to be able to help you set this on the right way. And I've priced it in this way, and I've priced it in this way in order to be able to make it worth your while, but also going to be able to make this worth your while, but also so that you can actually do this. To make it worth your while, but actually also so that you can actually really do this, right? Does it make sense? And so with that, what we really need to find out, is not is it going to be worth it to you, but rather what does it take? What's required for you to actually do that and get over the hump and actually get started with that? Because if it really was the case that it was worth it to you, that you would do it, right? New identity, new priorities, pain of change. Well, you got to change the change. It's never going to be comfortable. You have to be getting what you want is what you've been getting. So you got to change the change. It's going to hurt a little bit, but that's what it is, hypothetical. If it were perfect, would you do it? So on a scale from 1 to 10, how would you rate it, right? What would make it a 10? What would make it a 1? So what would make it not work? What would make it a 1, right? What would make it a 10? Okay, so if we did that for you, then you would go ahead with that. That is very interesting. So if we were to make it a 10 for you, then you would go ahead with that. Is that correct? Okay, got it. Very interesting. Okay, got it. Between the perfection and what we got. Okay, authority. So, but we already got the permission. It's not your decision, right? Say no, it's resentment. So do they approve of your current struggle? Do they like that? If that was your husband, so if that was your wife in that position, would you allow them to do that? Okay, it's your decision. If they say no, resentment, 3-day no sweat guarantee.